Rage on that beat, going crazy.
Welcome back to Down the Stretch, the Solano Stallions podcast. My name is Carter Scott, as always joined by my co-host Justin Brown. And today we've got a great interview with personal trainer and the Stallions sports performance and conditioning trainer, Marcellus Shaw. We have a great talk about his switch from a career in finance to fitness, misconceptions people may have when they train, what it takes to train an athlete, and much more. It's a great interview with a lot of insight for not only younger kids in sports, but everyone looking to get in a little better shape, as well as give people a peek behind the curtain of what these athletes are doing every day to make themselves better. So let's get right into it, our interview with Marcellus Shaw. All right, joining us on the pod this week is fitness coach and Stallions sports and conditioning trainer, Marcellus Shaw. Marcellus, how you doing today?
Doing great. Thanks for having me. How y'all doing?
Can't complain.
Pretty good.
Yeah, we appreciate you coming on today and taking time out of your day to talk to us. So just to start, how did you get into fitness and training for yourself? And then how did that eventually lead to you doing it professionally?
So for myself, I come from a family of like big athletes. I want to say all my uncles, my father played multi-sports growing up. I'm from Sacramento, so like being around Sacramento, if you hear my last name, if you talk to some OGs, they're like, "Oh, I know your uncle. I know your father." So, just having athletes in the family, I always gravitated towards sports, and just growing up, I was more into sports than cartoons.
Yeah.
So 90s baby, so Michael Jordan, Barry Bonds, Jerry Rice, and then as you get older, like Tiger Woods, those type of people are always interested in them. I think I really learned how to read just by reading Sports Illustrated, to be honest. So I was definitely a sports geek, and obviously growing up, 90s baby, we also were outside a lot, being very active, playing football, tag, kickball, anything, obviously hoop, anything that can keep us busy. We were just being active. So I think that's what started my interest in just, human movement. And obviously I started playing basketball. And then I want to say maybe in high school, towards the end, I don't think I was really satisfied physically. So I started to, go to 24-hour fitness. My dad hooked me up with a trainer and kind of just showed me the ropes of how I should train. And then, as I started going to the gym more often, I was like, this is a pretty cool job. It's something I probably want to do in the future. But it's funny because I didn't really start being a trainer towards maybe 3 or 4 years ago. I was actually in finance. I have a business degree, so sitting on my butt for like 9 hours wasn't great for my body, and definitely got a lot of injuries just being in the gym and also just being stiff. Mm-hmm. So I decided to learn more about the body, obviously get certified, and I started doing it part-time, and then I actually got laid off from my finance job. I was like, let me just do this full-time because it's going well. I'm good at it, and I'm just going to bet on myself, and that's kind of just lead me to where I am today.
That's cool. Did you go to Sac State for that?
No, I went to USF. I'm from Sacramento. I went to USF, so I've been in the Bay for a minute.
Okay, cool.
Nice. Well, I don't know if you know this or not, but I'm a high school basketball coach, and one of the things about especially young kids, they don't really understand the importance of athletic trainers. They don't understand the importance of taking care of your body, and kind of how that helps the athletic side of things. And yeah, man, they just, at least from my experience, these young kids, they really underestimate the importance of athletic trainers and how much they actually help us as an athlete.
Right.
So I guess my question for you is just, what's the biggest misconception that you found that people have about training?
There's a lot, right? Especially in these days, age of misinformation that we're in. I'd probably say I guess training hard is the way to go. You know, I think
Mm-hmm.
more a combination of training hard and training smart. You know,
Mm-hmm.
if you were training hard every single day, we'd all be able to squat 2,000 pounds, you know, jump out the gym. But that's just not how our body works. You know,
Yep.
there's a limit to how you can grow, but there's a smart way to do it versus like training hard. Even when I train, obviously I train general population too, and they come from like the stigma of you have to train hard. I have to feel like I'm dying to get a good workout. Okay,
Mm-hmm.
how does that affect you for the rest of the week? How does that affect you in your next workout? It's probably not going to go as well, right? So being able to train hard and train smart is a better combination than just trying to go all out in one workout.
No, yeah, I definitely understand what you're saying. And I'm gonna have some of my kids listen to this podcast because they just don't listen to me when I try to tell them that type of stuff. So maybe coming from somebody who actually does this for a living, maybe that'll actually get through them.
And also
So,
recovery is important, like recovery, stretching.
yeah.
Obviously for hoopers, we don't come from like this stretching. We just go out and hoop, right? You know, we
Yeah.
don't. As we age, you know, you want to warm up, but like as you're younger, you just all right. Let's pick up. We playing for 5 hours and then no stretch afterwards. I'm going home.
Mm-hmm.
And as we get more elite, as we get more stronger athletes, quicker athletes, more explosive athletes, they need to learn how to handle their body because, you know, it's not like in the 70s and 80s, like there's good players, but they weren't exceptional athletes. Now we have both. So now we need to learn how to actually deal with the bodies that they have.
Yeah, that's tough because like I played sports in high school and in high school it's all about like, oh, who can bench the most, who can squat the most, who can do this and who can do that. And then no one really talks about like the effect that has if you don't pace yourself or if you don't have a plan and you're just going in there and lifting as much as you can every day, how much of a toll that actually ends up taking.
Yeah, definitely. Athletes, they're not supposed to know. They're not supposed to be super knowledgeable because they're supposed to be knowledgeable in their sport.
Mm-hmm.
There needs to be somebody there to guide them, training wise. But the sport should always trump anything else. But you definitely need to know how to do it safely because obviously, if you're hurt, you can't play, right?
Yeah,
Exactly.
so you mentioned you train not just athletes but like a common population as well. So when you create like a plan for someone, how does a plan differ from someone who's just trying to stay fit and work on their stuff versus like an athlete that's trying to train for a specific sport?
So honestly, it's a little bit of the same. Like everyone should have some sort of structure when they're training. For example, like how can you see yourself get better if you don't have a plan ahead of time? You know, a lot of people like, oh, I'm gonna get a workout in, and then they'll do it 10 days from now, the same workout or a different workout, 1,000 different exercises you see on Instagram. It just doesn't work. How do you get stronger? How do you get better? There's no way to gauge that. So typically I'll set a program for a client and then we follow that for at least maybe 2 to 3 months so we can see progression, you know. And same thing for athletes, you know, how high do you jump? You write that down. Next week or two, we try to get higher and higher. Same things for squatting, stuff like that. The only difference between gen pop and athletes is we have them do sport specific stuff more often. Like my general population, I still have them do a little bit of jumping and some athletic movements, but obviously it's more for the athletes. So with athletes, you're going to risk your body because that's just your job. You know, jumping 50 inches off the ground is not. You can't really say it's safe, you know, but it's part of the job. So I wouldn't have like a tech person try to do that. But as an athlete, that's part of the job. You lay your body on the line and you get rewarded for it later on.
Yeah, some of these kids these days are ridiculous athletically.
Right.
Like, it just makes no sense sometimes how much.
They don't even think about it. They just do it.
Oh my God, it just doesn't make any sense sometimes. Like, how can they do that?
Right.
But yeah. So does the workouts differ from what sport the athletes play? Like, does a basketball player's workout differ from a football player's workout per se?
Yes. So there's something called principle of specificity, where it pretty much just says you should train in a way specific to what you do, like whatever activity you do or a sport you play, So for example, like if I was a baseball or golf or tennis player, rotational sport, right? You're working on your shoulder joint, rotating it, stability through your trunk, which is pretty much from neck down to waist, and then hip power. With a tennis swing, golf swing, baseball throw, it's very, very explosive movement, and you got to train that way. Like for soccer, more endurance, right? You're not really trying to lift 1,000 pounds. You're just trying to have a lot of stamina. Basketball, a lot of stop and go, a lot of lateral movements, obviously a lot of jumping. So plyometrics will always be in a basketball program. Football has a little bit of everything. But most likely you'll have a muscle building program for football, because obviously you need some muscles as you get hit up and down that field, right? And it's not really endurance focused, because the plays are maybe 7 seconds long, and then you get a break, and then another break, and then 7 seconds long, and then you only play one side of the sport, right? So it's more explosive and muscle building versus like I mentioned, soccer is endurance, because you're on the field for like what it seems like 5 hours, right?
Yeah.
So you kind of touched on it a little bit earlier, but with these older guys and the more professional athletes, is there a way that you train to prevent injury? Like, or how are you educating these athletes on prevention of injury?
Well, the great thing about the internet now, right, is there's so many doctors and physical therapists and just really, really smart people that are doing research and sharing it. So it's up to the trainer's jobs to stay up on research, finding better ways to do things, and finding efficient ways to do things, because at the end of the day, there's only so much time. We're not trying to spend an hour or whatever on recovery. You're trying to do the efficient way of recovery and then still get skills training, obviously strength training. So you have to balance it, and you just can't spend time just working on recovery, even though it's important. Obviously, sleep will help you with recovery, and just being smart with your training and staying healthy will help with recovery. With that being said, you need to obviously stretch. As we talk about younger athletes, it's not something that they like to do, but the coach or the trainer needs to find ways to emphasize why it's important and to make it somewhat fun. Like, no one wants to be on a foam roller for 30 minutes, That's not fun.
Yeah, that thing hurts.
Yeah, it hurts, right? It hurts. I mean, it's important. I mean, it may be important for people that, have like nagging injuries, but there's better ways to do things, right? There's always better ways to do, and everyone's different at the end of the day. You may like foam rolling, someone else might not. So you have to find a way for that person to be engaged on how to recover, warming up properly, and also stretching after your workouts.
Yeah.
And nutrition is also is important for recovery as well. You can't. I mean, there's rumors that Michael Jordan ate McDonald's all the time, but I mean, everyone's not Michael Jordan, right? So nutrition is also important.
Yeah, I was literally just gonna ask a little add-on question to that, and just how important is it to understand how what we put in our body affects what we give out as an athlete.
Yeah, so I mean, our body is an energy system, so we burn energy and then we consume it back through food, and all food isn't created equal. With that being said, you don't need to be a super health nut to be a great athlete, but you still need to monitor what you put in. Like, for example, like I just mentioned McDonald's, you shouldn't be eating McDonald's every single meal every day, right? Mm-hmm. It's not going to give you the best of what you can do versus like nutritious foods. Obviously, fruit and veggies, you can never go wrong. Lean protein, good carbs. There's good and bad carbs. What they do to your body is a chemical reaction to your body and how you use the energy. Like, I don't know if you ever ate like donuts before you worked out, or like just junk food, right? Have you ever ate junk food before you worked out?
Yeah.
You don't feel great, right? So
you feel all heavy out there.
Yeah.
right. You might get a stomach ache while trying to work out or whatever.
Mm-hmm.
You're not going to play as well. You're not going to lift as well. So just being smarter how you put things in your body. You don't have to be eating twigs all the time, but just be more organized in how you put things into your body. Eat well before your workout, eat well after workout, and then on recovery days or days where it's not as intense, indulge in whatever you like.
So just kind of on top of that, what are you like a typical day when you go in for a workout? What are you doing before and after, like food wise?
So it depends on the time you work out, right? So you don't want to be really full during a workout because, like, obviously, if I'm jumping up and down, my stomach's heavy, like, it's not going to work out. You're going to have to take a minute to pause and wait for all those things to digest. So typically, the rule of thumb is like maybe 100 to 250 calories before the workout. This can be through, a lot of people do coffee just to get them going, protein bars that are low calorie, obviously fruits a good go-to. But it shouldn't be a super heavy meal, but you shouldn't feel like you're hungry before you work out, right? Because also then that means you're not energized to kill the workout, So it's a balance. It shouldn't be too low, it shouldn't be too high. And obviously after, depending on if you're doing 2 days, that's a whole nother thing. But afterwards, that's when you can get your grub on.
Okay. Yeah, it doesn't help when you got guys like Ocho Cinco. I love Ocho Cinco, but he brags about eating McDonald's every day and still in great shape.
We don't know how true that is. He's also
that's true.
He got the jokes.
All right. So obviously, I'm sure you've dealt with athletes who have been injured, and you're kind of training them, trying to get them back on the right path or whatnot. So how do you motivate these athletes mentally and physically during the recovery?
It's a good question. So there's baselines where you pretty much test where they're at, and you grow from there. You don't want to try to do too much, especially when someone in recovery. Like I mentioned earlier, progression. You couldn't do this last week, but now you can, and then we keep working on that. That's enough motivation to keep going and doing what you're doing. If you couldn't jump and land on one leg without pain, and now you can, that's progression. And then hopefully in a month's time, you can do more dynamic things. And that, if a trainer or a coach isn't working on progression, then they're not really a good trainer or coach, to be honest, because that's all what it's about. You should be trying to get better every time you step in the gym or wherever you're working out, because if you're not, then you're getting worse, right? There's days where you might say the same, but that's still a win, right? Obviously, like I mentioned earlier, you don't progress to astronomical amounts like squatting 1,000 pounds, but getting through the tough days is also a win. So just finding little things to get you going, that's all that matters.
So kind of shifting more towards you and your business now. Obviously, COVID and the pandemic has made things difficult on a lot of people. So just an update on how your business is doing and what kind of adjustments you needed to make once things kind of slowed down and went into lockdown and social distancing and stuff.
Yeah, I definitely took a big hit. But honestly, it was a blessing, because I feel like, especially in American culture, we're always on the go. The 9 to 5 culture, we're working Monday through Friday, and then Saturday, Sunday, we're doing errands, we're doing chores, or hanging out with friends or whatever. There's no time to self-reflect. And just through this pandemic, obviously, my whole job was over with. The gyms were closed. My clients didn't want to come anymore. I tried Zoom for a little bit, and it just wasn't effective, and it just didn't engage people. So I had to pivot to like online coaching. Pretty much the difference between online coaching and Zoom sessions is I'm not really there in person, or like, I guess, in FaceTime or whatever.
Mm-hmm.
But I give you a program and I coach you through it. Obviously, for like general population, it's a more affordable option, and you probably get better results because like a one-off type session, I don't know what you're doing after the session, right?
Mm-hmm.
Versus like online coaching, I have more structure for you. You just follow it, and if you follow it, you get results. So I had to pivot to that, but I also just had self-reflection on how I can be a better trainer, coach. Ways I can improve, ways I can run my business better, and I think I also took a course too early in the pandemic just to how to run my business better, and it definitely has helped me nowadays because now I went from 0 clients to now I have a lot over the month or two. So definitely like starting all over and building myself back up again has had me super confident in what I do and super blessed to be able to be in the position I am, because there's a lot of trainers that didn't survive and are still struggling to get clients, and fortunate to not be in that position.
Yeah, so this has just been kind of a blessing in disguise, like you said.
Definitely.
Yeah. So I mean, that's kind of a good lead into this next question. Just how does your clientele motivate you to keep doing what you're doing?
Just to see, like, especially nowadays when there's not a lot of social interaction, like these people really look forward to like seeing you. Like this is something that really brightens their day, and especially like for people who are working at home and they come out to see me, it de-stresses you. Obviously, if you're getting goals, that's always great. If you're feeling better, looking better, that's always great. But just the social aspect, these people really, they turn into friends, or turn into family.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm helping people improve their lives as well as building relationships, and that's all you can really ask for. Better than, my previous jobs where I was just sitting looking at a computer forever,
Mm-hmm.
So do you have anything kind of set up or planned for the future once COVID kind of eases back and those social interactions can happen in person again?
Definitely. I have a lot planned. Obviously, it depends on if the spread slows down, but
yeah,
I'm probably gonna have 3 different streams of services. So like one-on-one coaching, in person. Hopefully, I want to get some group training in there just because I want to have. My ultimate goal is to be more accessible to the most amount of people possible. So people from different backgrounds, different incomes. I want to be accessible to everyone. So I want to get group training started back up again, hopefully soon. And also, like, I want to keep my online coaching business going as well, just to be accessible to everyone in different price points. Obviously, in person, people like being alone. Obviously, group training, people like to be with other people. And online coaching, people are more independent. So I want to have all those going when COVID is slowed down, and then also probably partnering with another trainer to get some things going as well. I don't really want to speak on it yet, but working on it soon with another trainer.
It's awesome. It's awesome.
Nice. Yeah, it is awesome. So I mean, I guess our last question for you is, do you have any suggestions of who you think we should maybe bring onto the pod one of these weeks?
Man, let's see. Probably go with a Bay Area legend, Kiwi Gardner.
Kiwi. I know Kiwi. I mean, I played against him back in the day when I was in high school, but yeah, he is a Bay Area legend. Everybody knows Kiwi.
YouTube legend as well.
Oh man. Man, dropping folks left and right.
Yep. At 5'5" or whatever he is.
Man. It's ridiculous.
Yeah. All right, we gotta get Kiwi on then. So Marcellus, as we wrap up, do you have any social media or websites you want to plug right now and say them out?
Yeah, you can follow me on Instagram. It's Cell Denzel, so CELL Denzel DENZELL. That's just my middle name. Some people think I'm just like shouting out Denzel Washington, but no, that's And then my website is marcelluspt.com. You can check that out. Those are the two things I'm on the most.
All right, Marcellus Shaw, thanks so much for hopping on the pod. It was great talking to you and learning some fitness stuff, and hope to have you back on soon.
Yeah, appreciate y'all. I'm ready to come back and talk about some hoops or something.
Dude, let's do it.
It's all good. Anytime. I was just telling Carter, I'm sitting here watching the Laker game.
Yep.
Watching my Lakers.
It's a good year so far, so let me know when
you're
ready.
You're a Laker fan?
It's all good.
I'm a Kings fan.
Okay.
I don't want to say it too loud,
Yeah. All right, Marcellus, thanks so much.
Yeah, we appreciate you.
Appreciate you too.
All right, that was Marcellus Shaw, kind enough to hop on the pod with us this week. Had a great time talking to him and look forward to having him back on to talk some hoops in the future. Thank you all for watching and listening to this week's pod. If you have anyone you want featured, whether it's a player, coach, or member of the community, don't hesitate to reach out to us on our social channels at Solano Stallions. Follow us there on Instagram, Twitter, Facebook, and YouTube. Thank you all so much for watching. Hopefully, you decide to join us again next time. And if you do, we'll see you then.